I love this for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about how the youth movement for the Chicago Bulls helped them come back against the Atlanta Hawks and why it is time for the Chicago Bulls to truthfully lean in on this youth movement. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so the Chicago Bulls were able to come back against the Atlanta Hawks last night, 125 to 113. And we had 8 players that were in double figures. And at one point, we had the Atlanta Hawks. I think we kept them down to 43 points in the second half after they had opened up with 70 in the first half. And a lot of this comeback was started with our youth movement, and they were actually the ones that took us home. And so I wanted to talk about some of the key takeaways from this youth movement for the Chicago Bulls and why they absolutely need to lean into it a little bit more. And let's start with, I think, the main piece to our youth movement, or the two main pieces, and that's going to start with Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White. I think that both of these players really lead the youth movement for this team, and I think that they are both leaders. I think that they are the most vocal out of this young core. And starting with Ayo Dosunmu, the one thing I love about Ayo is I think that he is probably the best defender on the team. And I think that, defensively, there's not anything that he can't do. He's a great on-ball defender. He's terrific off the ball. I love the fact that he's able to switch anywhere from 1 to 5. And you might score on Ayo Dosunmu, but it is going to be tough. And I talked about last night how he was able to go out there and get a key block going into the second half where he blocked Clint Capella. I think that was one of the things that really started us off well for that third quarter. But the fact that Ayo Dosunmu can bring it out there defensively every game, that definitely makes him an impact force. And I feel like that is why he is a player that just simply cannot be traded, because not only does he bring it on the defensive end, but offensively he brings it too as well. Last night, look, he scored 19 points. He had 4 assists. He had 2 rebounds. He was 2 of 3 from downtown. But more importantly, 13 of his 19 points were in the paint or at the free throw line. He was helped us get to a +9 in the fast break as well. And I love that about Ayo. And I've said this before, that I don't worry about Ayo and I don't worry about Coby White, because both of these players have figured it out. And I love the fact that any role that you put them in, they're going to excel. And I love that about Ayo Dosunmu. And even though he hasn't shot the basketball very well from 3 this season thus far, I know he's going to figure it out. His assist to turnover ratio is 3rd on the Chicago Bulls. Right now, he has 2.9 in that area. So he's 3rd there. And then also, too, he is 4th as far as assist a game, or 4 assists a game as well. So he's 3rd on the team there as well. And so, look, he finds ways to be impactful, not only as a scorer, but also to a playmaker. And then as we shift focus and we look at Coby White, I think that Coby White is probably more of a scorer than Ayo Dosunmu. And yes, he doesn't have as good as on-ball defense as Ayo Dosunmu, but he complements Ayo very well. And I think that they both complement each other, and they lead in different ways, because Coby White last night, 18 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. But here's the thing with Coby White. A lot of people attack the fact that they say he's not a very good defender. Right now, he leads the team with 1.3 steals per game. And how good is this 1.3 steals per game? Right now, if you go to NBA.com, he is tied with players like Javonte Green. Also, too, he is tied with Lou Dort of OKC. And then he is ahead of a player like Jaren Jackson Jr., who was the former defensive player of the year. And so what this says about Coby White is that Coby White, yes, he's not a very good on-ball defender, but he is terrific off the ball. He understands angles. He understands how to be active in the passing lane and get deflections. And those deflections, they're turning into turnovers, and that is helping us get extra possessions. So you have a great on-ball defender with Ayo Dosunmu, who can go 1 to 5, and you have a good off-the-ball defender in Coby White. That is a perfect blend. And I think that these two really, they are like the leaders of this youth movement out there. And some other numbers for Coby White, when you look at this 1.3 steals that I mentioned, in comparison right now, if you compare that to, say, Alex Caruso, who is tied for 5th right now in the NBA in steals, he's at 1.9 steals right now, and that is Alex Caruso tied for 5th. So that just lets you know just how good Coby White has been as far as generating steals and being good off the ball here. And then with Coby White, his assist right now, he is 2nd on the team in assists. So he is not purely just a scorer. He's just behind Josh Giddey in assists at 7 assists a game. He's at 5 assists a game. And guess who's right behind him? It's Ayo Dosunmu. And respectively, when it came down to rebounding, both of these players have gotten it done there, because at this point, they are both 6th and 5th on the team in rebounding. At this point in time, Ayo has the advantage at 4.8 rebounds a game. And right behind him is Coby White at 3.5 rebounds a game. So both of these players impactful in different areas, and they're both players that I absolutely am not trading. I would like to see one of them become a franchise player, but if they do not, that's okay too, because I think that both of these players are going to go down as these type of Chicago Bulls players that we're always going to remember. I'm talking about Luol Deng, Kirk Hinrich, Taj Gibson, just players that have been super impactful for this team, and they weren't necessarily the superstars on the team, even though I think that they could be at some point in time. So I wanted to start with them. I think that they are the most important pieces to this youth movement, and I think that Billy Donovan absolutely is going to have to lean on these two players. And if you're bringing Josh Giddey back, which we anticipate you are, you had better make sure that you bring these two players with them, because it is an absolute joke if you go off and trade them. All right. So next up, we'll talk about a little bit more into this youth movement and some players that are really standing out and I think are right behind Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu, starting with Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry. And so Julian Phillips is becoming a great two-way player. I love the fact that he is shot ready and can knock down the three-point shot. I'm beginning to think that that is becoming a trusted source of offense for the Chicago Bulls. I think he's going to be even more consistent as Billy Donovan goes ahead and leans into him. And I love the chippiness that Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips brings. Like, they just have that it factor, and it's something that this team has been missing, I think, since the times of Tom Thibodeau being there. Like, we've needed that kind of defensive edge. Those two players bring it. And I like the fact that Julian Phillips is not just selling for three-point shots. He got down into the paint. He dunked the ball home. And so he's taking advantage of being in the paint area and playing big down there. He finds ways to use his athleticism on the break as well. And he's quietly becoming maybe one of the best two-way players on the floor, along with Ayo Dosunmu. And next, that leads me to Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry, I love the fact that it's just, you can't really define what he does on the floor. Like, it's not a certain statistic that jumps out at you. It is the energy that he has just brung every single game, along with, Julian Phillips. But it's just different with him. I mean, I like the fact that he gets in and he is willing to scrap and just really squabble for the basketball. I love how he is in there competing. I'm thinking back in the game against the Utah Jazz. He's going against John Collins, who's got him, with the height and the weight, but he's in there battling, and it's that type of chippiness that we have needed. And last night, we got a chance to see that he has been working on his offensive game, and I love the fact that he didn't just settle for three-point shots, and he's not shying away from contact. There was one play where he drives in, not taking a corner three-point shot, goes in and hunts contact, goes to the free throw line, and he makes both his free throws. And I'm saying, look, I think Dalen Terry can continue to do this. You've just got to give him minutes. And I think these four players are really emerging to be the leaders of our youth movement. Obviously, we have Josh Giddey, who is going to be a big piece in that because he's going to be setting the table, and he's going to need players like this around him. And as we look at the stat sheet and get ready to jump out of here, you can look and see that also too, Jalen Smith, he was big off the bench, and I think that he would probably be playing a little bit more, but Vooch is just on fire right now. He's playing extremely well, and at this point in time, Jalen Smith is still dealing with that knee injury, but I like the fact that he has been able to be impactful off the bench. He really helped us as far as getting a run together. And then THT, his championship experience, he actually leads the team right now in the assist to turnover ratio at 4. And so he is doing a great job as far as getting into the game and being impactful. Yes, I'm saying that about THT. He is really making it happen. And so this just shows you that Billy Donovan has got to start to trust this youth movement, because if you're going to move on from Zach LaVine and Vooch, which is reported, and at some point they're going to have to in order to get these players out there, I think it's just time to get them more minutes, more experience, and more time like this, because you're seeing that if you put them into situations, they're going to respond. And I know Modest Buzelis didn't play well last night, but I am not discouraged at all because he has a ton of confidence out there, and I feel like he is willing to run up the chimney because he wants all the smoke. And the only way to get him good, to get him ready, to get him to be a big contributor in this youth movement is to go out there and play him. So anyway, let me know in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's game, and what was your biggest takeaways from the youth movement of the Chicago Bulls? Because I think we had a lot of questions going into this season. Could certain players play a lot better offensively? Could they get better defensively? What was their contributions going to be? And I think that as we see that they're getting playing time, I think, a lot of these questions are going to be answered, but you just got to play these younger players. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Anyway, just want to let you know that about 64.2% of you that watch are not subscribed. So make sure you go ahead and mash on that subscribe button as we try to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season ends. And look, even though we are finally starting to see Billy Donovan go and use the youth movement, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.